Because again, I would also agree that this is a need of the hour.
Absolutely.
We all know the kind of stress everybody is going through, the stressful lives and the fast life people live through. There have been incidents now in the near past. One was the famous German wings, where the first officer had crashed the aircraft into the Swiss Alps.
Yeah.
After that, in international circles also, they identified that mental health is very important.
Absolutely.
Very, very important.
I think because that is very important, because normally these things don't show up on the face. People hide it as much as they can. Hello everyone, my name is Pranav Vashistha and I'm an entrepreneur in the space of mental well-being. This is the Gut Feel Show, and this show is all about well-being, where we bring in people from every walk of life and discuss different aspects of well-being in their profession and about their life. Today's show, our guest is a pilot with Air India. We discussed everything about the transition of Air India and acquisition by Tata, how a pilot maintains their work-life balance, how they mitigate stress, and what is a day in the life of a pilot. Please keep watching this podcast till the end and do subscribe us for more such interesting content. Hello sir, welcome to the Gut Feel Show. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Pranav. Thanks a lot. Doing very good. Lovely to see this setup here, and we were anyways in touch for this for a while, and let's do it today.
Great,
Yes.
great. So,
Yes.
so let's start with Air India, the big news that happened, the transition of Air India after so long. What do you say about that? How is the transition? How is it going?
I will take it a little back. Joined Air India in 2002, and that is when this present BJP government was there that time. And that time we heard that they are planning to shift it to a private enterprise and giving it back to Tata's.
That was in 2002.
2002. So you can imagine it's been 2 decades we have been hearing this, and always whenever this news came, we were always happy and looked forward. But finally it has happened now under this government. Talking about transition, like any transition, not an easy thing for the employees who have been here working in a PSU culture for so many years.
Yes.
And suddenly there is a corporate culture, new designations are coming in, old ones are being scrapped out. You suddenly see a young people joining who joined like 5 years back, and they are heading the shows now. So very difficult for the senior people to absorb that. However, it's all individual point of view. One person can think it's a new thing, new place to be in, and enjoy the journey. Being little, if you're old school, being a little egoistic, where you feel age and experience only matters, then you can have a little that grumpy.
Because I think
thing
it becomes a habit over time. Then when the change comes in, the habit breaks and it feels uncomfortable.
Absolutely, the culture, the habit and the culture. Anything the new they're coming up with, a two set of employees can have a very different outlook. One can see it a very positive way. This is something new which will take us on a different course. On the other side, one employee can be a really, really grumpy one. We have been
People
here,
who don't
we
like
are the
change.
pioneers, and we were running the show, and this people who have just come into aviation, they are telling us how to do things like that. Like change is difficult.
And sir, I've heard a lot of people say that there could have been no better company than Tata acquiring Air India. How is that? Why do people say that?
I would agree to them. Why? There are two things to it. One, the history. We all know that the company started by JRD Tata. So the Tatas have roots connected to this company. The chairman himself, Ratan Tata, he is very passionate about aviation and about Air India. So that connect was always there.
He said that Air India came back home.
Came back home. Ghar Vapsi and came home.
That was the
present term which is being used is Ghar Vapsi. So, like I was talking about Vajpayee government, when they asked for the bid, even then they did bid for this, and now again they bid for this. And this time when Tatas had bid for it, there was no doubt in anybody's mind it is them who will be taking it over. And with this, our present chairman, who's Mr. N. Chandrasekharan, it's again I would say a shift of culture in Tatas. Earlier, we have seen that only people from the family were heading the thing. Now this man is not from the Tata family,
correct,
but a very enterprising man and very aggressive when it comes to the expansion. Yesterday our CEO announced till 2024 December, next year December, every 6th day a new airplane is adding up. No airline has ever expanded like this. And I've
heard this news also that even Biden shared that thank you for giving us such a big order for Boeing. I think that
yes.
was
The order Air India has placed is quite a historic one. 470 airplanes, which include 75 wide bodies and 400 narrow bodies.
Oh.
Indigo did that too in the past, but in a brackets, 100 odd and then 100 again. But the bulk order of almost 500 airplanes is never been seen before. So very huge order.
So Tata is seeing a big transformation in Air India and also aiming for a big capture of the market. I think which is also expanding because new airports are coming in. A lot of connectivity is happening within India. Intercity connectivity is happening.
Tata's, they have come out with a Sanskrit name called Vihaan.
Oh.
So they are running a Vihaan project. When they bought Air India last year, or a little more than a year, they were calling it a taxi phase. Now taxi phase is when aircraft is still approaching the runway before taking off. So taxi phase had few challenges and few aims which they achieved. It was like merging the employees, hiring new people, placing orders in place. Now the orders are in place, so now they know when are the deliveries coming. Now second phase which is being now on is called a takeoff phase, where the company is climbing to the new heights by rolling out new destinations, hiring new employees, going all over the places, merging Air India and Vistara, and merging Air India Express and Air Asia. So two different, one full class service and one is the low cost service. Two different brands. Yeah.
So it's been 20 years almost for you, more than 20 years for you?
More than 20 years, yeah.
So sir, back in 2002, flying was a very new profession and something which very few people even knew about and tried to venture into. How did you get into this? What did your family think about it when you started?
Pranav, I am they say 80s kid, born in the 80s. So 90s, 91, what happened when our country got liberalized, when Dr. Manmohan Singh as the finance minister did that historic change in the budget when the country got liberalized. So we are kids from that era, when the country was opening up. So me being from a small town in Punjab, it was not flying as such. It was only some profession where I'll be able to uplift the family. Because family was a little humble, lower middle class family where you are living in a rented house whole life. So you as an elder son were looking out some professions where we would be able to uplift the family. I'm from a Sainik school background, so the Air Force was always a passion, but I had some injury where I was medically rejected. So then I got to know that there is a other profession which is called commercial flying, where the medical standards are not as strict as Air Force medical. And luckily I passed that, and that is how the journey started. And you need your family support, your parents support, and that all happened. And
पहली बार आपने बोला कि मुझे flying करनी है, तो what was the?
So the first time when I told them, one of my friend who got into Air Force, he told me this. He said, "Yeah, if I was not an Air Force pilot, then I would have done this." So that's how I picked up this. Spoke to my parents. The first thing was how much money it will cost. The money was a big factor. Then we figured out what kind of money. Then the whole family pitched in. You know how it is in old school days. Chacha, Taya, everybody's pitching up the money.
So everyone gave you support.
Yes, it was full family support.
Amazing.
And now I'm from the family of pilots. My wife is a pilot. Younger brother is a pilot. So yeah, like that.
So the complete family.
Quite an aviation family now.
Aviation family.
Quite an aviation family. Yes.
So in the last 20 years, do you remember any flight which is the most memorable flight for you? Something happened which you always remember?
For every pilot, generally the most memorable flight is the first command flight. You join as a junior first officer, then you become a senior first officer, which is like a co-pilot. And then after a certain experience of flying hours and exams, you go through some checks and then you convert it to as a captain of the aircraft. So the first flight as a captain is always a memorable flight. And you ask any pilot, most of the time they will say that was my first flight, which is a memory, which the memory is still there. The nervousness, the excitement.
Because you are the only head in the plane.
Now you know that anything happens, everybody's going to look at you. Eventually you get into that role and I will handle. But initially the nerves are always there. So when you're doing the first flight.
Because it's a huge responsibility when you take off.
Indeed.
And I heard this from my wife. She's also being a pilot. I've heard a lot of things from her, and she told me that up in the air, the captain is the law. That is something I got very intrigued, and I understood it as a thing where because up in the air you cannot just immediately call for help or something or the other. So how stressful and how responsible is that role there up in the air?
Like Mirya told you that captain is the law. I will agree with her in a little different way. Now, when you are called a captain, one person can take it a very small or narrow view. Okay, I'm taking this flight from A to B safely, and that's my role. On the other side, there are people who who have a little bigger, wider horizon when they say. So they are those people, who have everything in their mind. They will consider, okay, what kind of crew I have today, what backgrounds they come from, what kind of first officer I have today. They will generally have a small talk with the first officer, because with the small talk, you are getting to know the mental health of that person for that particular day.
Because it
Has
is
he
very
come rested,
important.
well rested? Any issues in the family? Let's say I meet a first officer and he tells me ki I've just come on a flight, but last night, mother wasn't well, I was running into the hospital.
So you get
I
to
as
know
a
that
captain
there is a...
ki what kind of mental setup he's coming as. What kind of responsibility I'll give him, or maybe I'll keep more responsibility towards me today.
Okay.
Then the seniority, the number of hours he has. If he's like a really senior first officer, then I'm pretty relaxed that day. Ki I know ki I have a support system which is really experienced.
Yeah.
But I want to focus on this thing which is very new in the aviation, is the mental setup, mental health. So as a captain, I'm always now very intrigued. When I meet my set of crew, I want to know where they come from. What was their last flight? Was it a very fatigued roster? Where they come from. That makes me a little more aware how the things are going to be there, because especially in a long haul flying, where you're going to fly for next 13 hours, 14 hours in air, your team well, the whole team performs well, and captain sets the tone of the flight.
Because that is something which is key to you, because you are heading the flight, so you need to take everyone along, and if your team, your team is on the same page, that is how you get sorted, I think. And when you're saying this thing, sir, that the mental health thing is becoming a criteria in mental health, can you elaborate about that? How is it happening? What is the plan?
So we all pilot, and a whole aviation is regulated by DGCA, Director General Civil Aviation. That is a regulatory body which regulates pilots, the airlines, how they will be regulated, how they will be working. So this all come under DGCA. And like all pilots and cabin crew, we have certain medical requirements that we go through the medicals every year. Now, very new major shift is the new civil aviation requirement. It's basically a rule. Okay. It's called CAR. A new CAR has come which says that pilots will go through their mental health checkups also.
Okay.
Yes. Because again, I would also agree that this is a need of the hour.
Absolutely.
We all know the kind of stress everybody is going through, the stressful lives and the fast life people live through. There have been incidents now in the near past. One was the famous German wings, where the first officer had crashed the aircraft into the Swiss Alps.
Yeah.
After that, in international circles also, they identified that mental health is very important.
Absolutely.
Very, very important.
Absolutely.
And now, as a Tata, they have come out with they call it a peer group. They have created a peer group where there are few volunteers who have a background who are students of psychology. So that group will address the mental health issues. But as of now, they're keeping it volunteer. If as a volunteer I want to go and meet them, nobody will be checking me. But very soon, like I said, DGC has made a rule, so we'll have a mental checks also, mental health checkups.
As a part of the
annual check. Part of the annual check.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think because that is very important, because normally these things don't show up on the face. People hide it as much as they can, but they are always there. Like, people are facing these issues because it's not a physical ailment, so you don't see fracture. आपको दिख जाता है. Mental health issues are not visible, so it is important to talk about it, and it is also important to make it normal. That if there's something, you should just talk about it, fix it, and then get to normal. Like, आपका injury हो जाती है, you people go and fix their injuries and come back to playing.
Absolutely.
It is something that it should be like.
See, Pranav, whatever profession you are in, it shows that what kind of society you are. Now, we all know in this society, mental health is a big taboo.
It's a big time.
People are not opening up at their homes with their parents. So imagine they will never open up in the work setup.
Yeah.
And especially when you're doing this critical work of being a pilot.
Yeah.
No matter what stress you're going through, you will always hide to that, because you have been taught you're a captain, you are supposed to lead from the front.
You know everything.
You know everything, and you're supposed to be a tough guy.
Superman.
Absolutely. So, and the whole crew is looking at you. Now imagine a captain or a first officer walking in and telling peers that, mentally I'm very stressful today. It's going
People will freak out.
Yes. So nobody is going to like it. They will feel then you should not have come for the flight, which is rightly so. But till today, I don't think that any pilot would have reported sick by saying that I'm mentally not well today. But we are seeing a shift, we are seeing a change now with these peer groups coming in. I'm sure peer groups will tell people, please come out and open up and with us. If you're not feeling mentally fit for the flight, report it. Rather than excusing something else, okay, I have fever today. Please tell the truth, it's mental issue. You don't need to tell the cause, the root cause, but at least tell doctors or tell the team that this is what the issue is and that is why I decide not to fly today. And it'll be respected.
And I believe now being Tata, this can happen because Tata is a very holistic company. They take people along. Otherwise, people find it, I have heard in other corporates, a lot of places, why people don't open up is because they feel the fear of being seen. It is that they feel weak after opening up or something like that. That should be... Over time, it is happening. Post-COVID, I've seen a lot of awareness happening. People getting normal. A lot of celebrities talking about their issues. This is where people started actually opening up and started talking. It is still at the very root level. It is coming up, and I hope by the next decade or so, this becomes a normal thing that if you have a problem, please speak about it before it's too late. Because if things become too late, then the bubble bursts and you know it can go anywhere then.
Correct. I'll answer this in two parts. First, like you said, Tatas have a holistic approach. So that answers your very first question when you said, is Tata is the best option? Yeah. So yes, why? That is why. Because Tata, being Tatas, owning more than 100 companies. Yeah. So if Tata's, as a Tata management, if I as an employee go to them and say, I need a mental help, they don't have to reach out to anybody else. They have their own setup.
They have it.
They have so many companies, in-house companies, where they can send me, okay, go there, and that issue will be addressed.
I think they have the most holistic ecosystem, I would say. आपको कुछ भी चाहिए, Tata के अंदर मिल जाएगा.
This is my favorite word, ecosystem, actually. Yeah, what you're saying is right. Second thing, what you're saying, like you said, the celebrities and all, they are opening up. Yes, many celebrities in the recent past, like Deepika Padukone and all, they opened up, and surprisingly, people accepted it.
Yeah.
Nobody was trolling them, nobody was making memes on them. Thing. Otherwise, had the society reacted differently, they would also have gone in the shell.
Yes.
But now, because they are opening up, and like they lead the whole society.
They have the influencer, they have the maximum amount of influence, and when the influencers change, that is when the crowd changes.
The perception changes.
Because the perception is based on someone who is influencing you. Like we have all read in books and we know that people say that it is 5 people or the people you see and watch and be around where they influence you. So people who are influencing you, if they are improving, that means the whole system is slowly improving. That is going down the route, the system will eventually improve. It will take time, but things have started, I believe.
No. I'm saying things have started, and things have started in quite a good pace.
Yeah.
It's not that, that somebody is only talking about it. The action is in place. The system is already, like I'm telling you about my company, the system is already there now.
Yes.
We have already have one small department which is being, it's already made, and they are calling the volunteers now. Okay. And very soon, like I said, there will be a proper checkups. We all will go through that checkup. Okay. And one should be open enough to go through it. There should not be any restrictions in your mind why to go through this. Yeah. It'll help only me in a
I think by the next generation, this will become a normal thing, I believe.
Very normal thing.
For us, it is becoming difficult because we came as a sandwich generation and a lot of awareness came in later with technology.
Agree.
So maybe by the next generation, when our kids grow up, I think things will be much, much better for them to at least open up and not face a major bubble burst. They would maybe solve it earlier in life.
Absolutely. I totally agree. There's no doubt about it that this next generation will have no taboos about this. Yeah. They will take it as a very normal thing. Okay, somebody is mentally not fit as of now, and little work is needed, and they will be back to the course. Back to the course.
I think I also believe, I was speaking to someone about it, I think a lot of this came with the education system also, because it was designed way back in the industrial era. It was designed only keeping IQ in mind. It was never designed for an EQ mindset, meaning emotional intelligence was never the part of the education system. And everyone was taught to just succeed, just become the topper of the class. This was the buzzword, top 3 mein aana hai, this and that. So I think 2-3 decades after the industrial era, people was just focusing on getting a job because that was needed. After World Wars and all, there was need of the hour was to make money for your family.
Absolutely.
So I think the education system is now requiring a change, which should bring in emotional intelligence as part of the curriculum, where kids at very young age become aware about their emotions. If they're feeling angry, if they're feeling upset, express about it at very early age. At the age of 5 or 6, if they start speaking up, by default, when they go into their teenage, when they grow up, go to their first job, they'll already be sorted and understanding failure as a thing to learn from.
Absolutely.
Not as a thing to fall from. अभी क्या हमारी जनरेशन सोचते fail हो गए तो खत्म हो गया सब. I think that is the wrong perception about failure. I think people who have succeeded the most have also failed the most.
Like I will try to explain through, because we're a cricket lover country. I just finished a book from Paddy Upton, who was a mental coach for our Indian team.
Okay.
He's gone back to South Africa now, but he was part of the team when India won the 2011 World Cup. If you read that book, you would see that how much mental conditioning is already going in these players. Like you said, these are also influencers, like Bollywood people. They also influence the society. Now today, Virat Kohli has a maximum Instagram following. Whatever he says, whatever he does, and the youngsters just follow him, right? So they all are already going through this change. They have already accepted this. They already, when they select the team, they see the mental health of that player. No matter how many runs he have scored, but if they feel that this particular time the mental health is not, they will ask him to rest in a very gentle and a polite way. Maybe even now they are not giving that excuse to the media. They might say injured back injury or something.
Because the media makes a different buzz out of it.
Yes. The society is not matured enough to accept it in a very mature way.
They throw it around in a bad manner.
Yes. So like now I'll come to the kids. As a parent, it is our responsibility now that the moment we feel that they are going through that shift, which they will, every phase of the life they will have that shift. It can be very small issues of small friendship issues in the boarding school or in the school, but one approach can be a parent can say, yeah, these things don't matter. We as a kid used to do this. Second thing is, this is present generation. Address it. Talk to them.
Accept it and listen to it at least.
And
you
take
should
it out
not
from them.
shut them down.
Oh yes.
Because what happens is what we have, our perceptions are coming from a different direction. Their perceptions are coming from a different direction. To understand them, you have to come in their shoes and talk to them and understand their situation. And because parents have the most influence in kids when they are growing up, we are their influencers, so it's our role to bring this awareness into them before any influencer does.
My grandfathers used to say, parents are like a mirror to the child. Whatever you say, whatever you speak, whatever you say, they will just follow that. No matter how much lecture you give
They'll
them.
become like that.
They will do what you do.
Yes.
They're
observing you very closely.
Very closely.
So tell me something with you have a family, you have a 20 years of flying career. Flying also has a very unpredictable schedule. Like things can be, there are flights at night, there are flights at morning, there are different random schedules. How do you manage that work-life balance, and how do you go about it?
I'll give you a very different contrast in my family. Like I said, I am a pilot. My wife is also a pilot. Priyanka, she's also in Air India. And she is also flying from last 15-16 years now. Two of us have a very different approach towards flying. Again, comparing it with cricket, my favorite thing. On one side, Virender Sehwag goes to bat, and we all know how he goes, what kind of mental frame he goes. He picks up a bat and whistling around. And on the other side, Rahul Dravid goes for batting, where he's preparing and visualizing that game maybe a day before. Nobody's disturbing him in his room, and he's focusing on that. Both do very well for the country. So it is something like this. Me and her, we prepare for flights very differently. So now coming to the general people in aviation. Like you said, it's a very stressful job, but everybody has their own ways and means to handle it, and that kind of professionalism is expected out of them. That once they are on job, once they wear a uniform, be it a cockpit crew or a cabin crew, then they are expected to follow their standard operating procedures. Then there is no excuses. Like we said, we were discussing earlier, that if anything which stopping you, which you feel I will not be able to perform, speak it earlier. Like we have a window of departure minus 6 hours that you can report anything 6 hours before the flight, and there will be some backup for you. You can't do it, of course, 2 hours before the flight. That professionalism is needed. But the company gives you that window, that certain number of hours before the flight. If you are not ready to operate such a crucial job, please come and let us know. Coming to your question again, that yes, everybody has a different way of dealing with this thing, in which health is very important, what you eat is very important, and management of the sleep is very important. And in a way, everything comes back to your mental thing. If your mind is at peace, you can manage all these things. If there is
so in between all of this work schedule that you have, you take out some time to travel or maybe explore some things with your kid. How do you go about that? Because he will be looking up to you for some time and these things. So because maybe you're flying at night, or maybe ma'am is flying in the day, you manage it in a way. So do you also plan it in a way that you all three are together when having a family time?
Yes, we do plan. Number one, you know the whole calendar of your kid, of your children, that when are the summer holidays and winter holidays. So you apply your leaves together.
Okay.
And you request your company that sanction us the leaves at the same time, so that you can have your family holidays and all. But otherwise, yes, it is difficult.
So
it is not
so
easy.
you require pre-planning.
Very much
As much as you should. I think this is also a pre-plan, that you know the schedule and आपने year का travel plan कर लिया.
Absolutely.
And whenever you are at home, you are going out or doing whatever time.
As a pilot, your appetite to go out actually reduces.
Yeah.
Anyways, traveling and eating out.
Exhausted.
So you generally like if you ask me, I'm a very dal roti person at home. I don't want to go because I'm anyways traveling. So for me, days off is just being at home and spending time and chilling and reading and all that. But again, everybody has a different thing of the idea of your time off is to get back to your physical and mental being fresh to do your next thing. Also depends what kind of flying you do. I do only international flying, so get good time offs between my two flights. But people who do domestic flying, they do everyday flying, very, very high. The fatigue is very high for them. And one aspect is mental, the other aspect is your physical fatigue. Both two are now being addressed by the regulator and the companies.
And I think all this, when you say the physical, mental and all these things, and the mindset, as you mentioned, the mindset is very important for a pilot, because the job requires very high reflex, very high focus. I think it's a holistic approach to this profession, where I agree that time is scattered. But I think if you plan, then you can figure out a lot of things where you can take care of your physical well-being, go for a walk, go for a run maybe, or a gym, and then read books or do meditation for your mental well-being. I think a lot of avenues are there available now for you to work around these things and have a more holistic approach to life, I believe.
Like I am a trainer now, so I teach young pilots and all that. I tell them that, or personally for me also, I take this profession as a sport. Now, like a sportsman, you also have your medical checks every now and then.
Yes.
You need to be fit, you need to be well rested before your flight. So, very similar to if you're playing a particular sport. Now, if a batsman gets out, he can go back and his coach will show him 10 different videos from different angles that this is how you got out. Same for us. If I make a bad landing or if I do anything wrong, they call me back. They have the gadgets and they have the technology to show me exactly that this is what you did wrong here.
Okay.
Yes. And then they send me to training school again, that you get better at this, correct your mistakes and then come back. So this is how I train my pupil also, that this is like a sport. The moment you attach that word sport to it, it gives you a different tangent where you know ki, okay, the fitness is important, the mental and the physical. And once you have that thing in your back of the mind, ki I need to keep these two aspects in my thing to have a long career, because the pilots' careers can get shortened anytime. Anytime you have a physical disability or certain ailment, mental or physical, the career can be really cut short. Understood. So that aspect is very important of mental and physical health.
Understood.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. It was great talking to you. Had an amazing conversation.
Thank you so much, and loved being with you here. This is lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you for watching till the end. Please comment below and tell us the topics you're interested in. We'll invite guests and discuss those topics in depth. Please like, subscribe and share this with at least one person, because your share can help that person learn more about well-being. Please do subscribe us, and thank you for watching.